It only took me 3 years to get around to doing this project. In this video, I show you how I built this barn door. Mistakes were made. The biggest one right here. I really should have used a 1x8 instead of a 1x6. But the ending result, I think the door looks good. It works good. This is how I did it. I went to Lowe's today and picked up the wood for the door. This is about $120 worth of wood. It is September of 2021. Prices for wood are just ridiculous right now. I've got 7 1x6x8s. These were almost $10 each. I've also got another 6-foot 1x10, a 1x8, and a 1x6. One of the first things I have to do is replace this top board here. I'm going to put a 1x6. I think I'm going to go all the way across over there to that wall. Also, this is the bracket that I've got, the sliding door hardware. I've had this in my house for 3 years. I used my razor knife to cut the caulk under here. And I got my 5-in-1 tool here, and I'm just prying this board off. And it's coming off pretty good. I opened up our box here and pulled the directions out, and it calls that top board a header board. It recommends a 1x6. So I've got these 6 picked out. I think that's going to be the door, and we're going to use this one over here. This is going to be the header piece. So the directions say 72 inches long. I think I'm going to go 76. And the end of this board is a little messed up, so I'm going to clean up this edge first, cut a little piece off, and then I'll pull my tape and measure 76. I got it cut to 76 inches. I also hit it real quick with my sander 120 grit. All right, the door is going to be 82 inches tall, and this is a 1x10. I've got a 1x8 and then a 1x6 at the top. This will be the bottom of the door. So I got these cross pieces here because that'll kind of match the design of my interior door. So I need to cut all of these pieces off. And these long pieces, they are 8 feet long right now. I don't need them that long. I've got my door clamped together, and I'm going to go ahead and trim off the bottom of the door. I'm going to take like 1 inch off just to have a nice straight edge there. Got my board here clamped on here as a straight edge or a guide for my circular saw. That worked good. Got a nice straight edge now. I've got my bottom piece cut 33 inches. My 1x10. So that's going to go right there on the bottom of the door. Going to put some glue on it. Glue that board down, and then we're going to nail it. I've got my 18 gauge nailer. These are 1.25 inches. We're using some tight bond. We got it all over this. Now, I'm not gluing all these boards together. Hopefully, I'm not going to regret not gluing this door together. I just built a desk, and it was only 4 feet long. I glued all the boards together, and that's really tough when you're trying to clamp them and they're glued and all the boards are wavy and the glue is going everywhere. And this door is 82 inches high. It's even longer. So trying to clamp those boards, those long boards together, and they got 6 boards on this door, and all of them are wavy like this, and you're trying to glue them. That's why I didn't do it. Maybe I should have, so we'll find out. I got my next piece cut, my 1x8. This next board is going to be up 32 inches. I measured the other doors in my house, and that's about where that middle cross piece is on those doors. Now I have to cut the door off at 82 inches high. I got my straight edge cut on the top of the door. I got my top board cut, and now I'm gonna glue it and nail it on. Now we're gonna start putting some wood filler on this door. starting to get dark out here, so men wax color changing. I've never used this stuff before. Normally I just get, I think, the Elmer's brand, but we're gonna give this a try. It's what they had at Lowe's. We're gonna go ahead and do this side with the orbital sander. Got some 120 grit sandpaper on here. All this was put on here last night, so it should be dry, but I got all the nail holes filled in, and you know, this wood had a bunch of little dents and dings in it. Not looking for perfection, you know, but I still want it to look like some wood. I don't really want that perfect like MDF kind of finish on it, but I do want to fix some of the bigger gouges and the ugly knots and stuff. We got both sides of the door sanded down. I picked up a can of Kiehl's primer. It was $19 at Lowe's. I don't really have a preference on brand. They also had Zinsser primer, was the same price. I just grabbed this one. Gonna use my little favorite 4-inch roller here. We got the first coat of primer on this side. We're gonna let it dry about 10 minutes or so, and then I'll do another coat. I've got 2 coats of primer on this. I need to do the other side, but while this dries for a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and put some primer on this board. This is the header board that goes above the door that the track's gonna be bolted to this that the door rides on. So what we're doing now, we're gonna hang this header board. This is gonna be where the track is mounted to this. The track's mounted to it with some lag bolts. These lag bolts go through some holes in the track. I don't know that the lag bolts are gonna hit studs. So what I'm doing, I'm making sure that I mount this board very secure. I've got some studs marked out. Right, use my stud finder. So what I'm using, these are 3-inch exterior screws. I'm using these because I have them left over from another project, but 3 inches should be good enough. I'm feeling pretty good about this header board. I've got 10 3-inch screws, either in studs or I believe there's a header right here. So these are in a header. That thing is very secure. Also, I use this little bit here to countersink the screws. So they're a little bit below the wood. And now we're gonna use our color changing wood filler. We got the wood filler on there. So I've got to let this dry. I've got to sand it off and paint it the white trim color before I can mount the track. The directions said to cut this board 72 inches. I went 76 inches, and this is the reason why. I wanted this little overhang. I don't know if 72 would have given me this little overhang, but it's just, I like this little design. I kind of thought that hanging over the door, since you got all this hanging over that side, maybe just having at least a little bit hanging over this side, I think that looked good. We're gonna start painting this door. I think I'm actually gonna brush this door, and when I flip it around to the other side, I'll show you why. So the color we're gonna go with, this is called Sherwin-Williams Briny. Looks like it's about to start raining out here. And we got that door inside just in time. Yes, sir, that is a bold color. So we got the first coat on there, and while this is drying, we got to go upstairs and work on the header board. While I'm waiting on that first coat on the door to dry, we're gonna go ahead and sand this off. I've got my orbital sander, 120 grit sandpaper. Can't really show what I'm doing because I'm gonna have the sander in one hand, gonna have the wet dry vac in the other. Header board is sanded down. We are ready for some trim paint. Now I really need a tube of caulk. I need to caulk around the edges of this board, but unfortunately I don't have one right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and at least paint the face of this board. That way I can mount my track and just keep this project moving along. And I can touch up the edges later, even after the door is hung up. I can still caulk around the edge and paint it. The trim paint that we're using is just some Sherwin-Williams white. I've got 2 coats of trim paint on the header board. It's looking really good. So it's got a total of 4 of these lag bolts. Got a 1/4 inch drill bit, and then a number 13 socket that I'm going to use to put in the lag bolts. I've got my first hole marked. Got the pencil mark right there. So we got it where we wanted it, left to right, and then it's kind of in the center here. I've got this little spacer bushing thing. It's going to go right here, and then I'll put the plate on there and run the lag screw through there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is put my level on here and try to get it level and mark this hole over here. All right, just like the other side, I got this little bushing thing that's going to go between the track and the wall, and then I'm going to put a lag bolt in it. I'm pretty happy with this. I think we got it level, so now I'm going to go ahead and put in, there's 2 more lag bolts right here that I have to put in. We got this track mounted. Now I have to go finish painting the door. I've got 2 coats of paint on this side of the door. This is going to be the side of the door facing the bathroom. So now I have to flip it around and paint the side of the door that's going to face the bedroom. I did want to show what I've got this thing sitting on. My brother actually showed me this a long time ago. So this is just a board and it's got some screws in it. So this board here has probably 6 or 8 screws, I can't remember. But anyway, this door is sitting on top of those screws. So now I can actually put my hand under here. And that way when you're painting or staining a project, you know, you're not touching the board. If you paint this and it's touching cardboard or this board, you know, when you try to pull this door off or whatever project you're working on, it'll get stuck to the board or the cardboard. You have to peel it off. It'll mess up your paint or your stain, whatever you're doing. When I did the primer, I used a little roller and it was a lot faster, but the problem is where these edges meet, like here and underneath and up here, I cannot get into this little groove here with the roller. So I want the texture to be consistent. I want it to all look the same. So I'm just gonna brush this entire door because it looks kind of bad, I think, if I roll all this big part and then there's like an inch. There's an inch along here and a little area here, you know, and then down there. There's like a little area where the texture doesn't match. So I think I'll just brush the whole thing. It'll take a little bit longer, but it should look really good when we're done. It is day 4 working on this door because of course I ran out of paint yesterday. So this morning before work, went to Sherwin-Williams and spent another $23 on this little can, and I'll probably use just a tiny little bit of it. So all I gotta do, I gotta put my second coat right here on this side of the door and we'll be ready to hang it. It's day 5 of working on this door. I think we're actually gonna finish it today. Now we're gonna mount these little roller things on there and then hang the door up. My door hardware comes with this little template. I can't even use this thing. So I've got a problem here. I really should have put a 1x8 on the top of this door. I've got a 1x6. I really think I should have put a 1x8 up there. If I follow the template, it wants this first hole, this top hole, to be down about 1.5 inches. All right, that'll be right there. But that looks stupid. The bracket's hanging down. I mean, that would be okay if I had a 1x8 on the top of this board. So I'm gonna move this thing up. It's gonna be right there. This is so frustrating to be this close to the end of this project and have a problem like this, but I think we're still gonna be okay. I drilled some smaller pilot holes first, like maybe 1/8 inch. And now we're gonna go ahead and use the bigger bit. This kit that I have, it comes with 2 different size bolts for this hanger. And that's good because I actually need this shorter one because my door is not that thick. If you have a thicker door, then you can use the longer bolt. We finally got this door hanging up, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, putting these hangers on here was way harder than it should have been. I have been struggling with these things for like 30 minutes. Maybe I'm tired from working all day. So I really do wish I would have used a 1x8 at the top. This door is hanging too low. I guess I got about an inch. It's about an inch above the doorway, but I wish the door was closer to the track. I mean, it's good on the bottom. It's maybe an inch, about an inch off the floor. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to put the door stops on the end of the door. Now right now I've just got them up here on the end of the track. And you use this little Allen key here. And up here at the top, loosen it up. So this can slide back. It's got these little rubber bumper things on here. So let me close the door here. Okay, that looks pretty good. The door is pretty much in the center of the doorway. So I'm gonna take this little stop here, slide it all the way over there, and tighten it down. Okay, I got that little stop tightened down, so then, you know, you just close the door, bump it right up against there, and that should be good. Probably gonna take a little fine tuning and playing around with this thing to get everything perfect. So now I'm gonna adjust the one on this end. Now I need to install the double floor guide down here for the door. So right now the door is hanging up and it just kind of swings around, which is not good. So I'm gonna install these little things. I'll figure out where to put them, and then, well, you get the point. Basically, that will keep the door from moving around. The door will just slide in between those. I've got our floor guide installed. Can't really see, but there's one on each side of the door, and they've got slots where I can slide them in and out. I also had to move this end piece here, had to move it in real far. Not real happy that the door won't open further than that, but if I open it too far, it'll go past the floor guide. So, you know, that's just what it is. But the door's working pretty good. We still got to get a handle for this thing. I just got our handle on here. It's a pretty simple black handle. It's actually a drawer pull for a cabinet drawer, but it works good. Door closes. And I got one on the inside. Now, of course, you can't really use it when it goes behind there, but same one. Works good. Open the door. The last thing I need to do to complete this door is install these little things. These are called an anti-jump disc. They're supposed to go on the top of the door to keep the door from jumping off the track. Well, here's a problem. Because I didn't build the door right, I didn't use a 1x8, and I had to push the door down further to make it look right for the hangers. The space in between the track and the door is too big. So I'm not going to use these. This door is pretty heavy, and I think it's going to be pretty hard to get it to come off this track. My kids are older, they're 12 and 14. I just don't see them slamming this door and hurting themselves. Even if my wife is mad at me and she slams this door, I think she's not going to have a problem with it. So I'm just not going to worry about it. Now, maybe if we sell the house at some point and we still have this door hanging up here, I'll go in and I'll modify it. I'll do something up there to make sure it doesn't jump off the track. When I first started thinking about this project, I thought I could do this entire thing, build it, paint it, hang it in one day. It's taken me over a week. I've got at least 7 days in this project. Now that's not the entire day. It might be 2 hours one day, 3 hours the next day. But still, it took a very long time to do this project. I'm happy with the end result. If you made it through this very long video, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.